All right, welcome back. Another beautiful week of golf. We got PGA Tour Pro Dice here, and myself recapping the RBC. Talk a little Zurich. But what a Dice 3 out of 5 now on the win list outright, which is pretty sick.
Yeah.
So talk us through JT's week and how you felt about it.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, if you're going back to weeks past, I've sort of been on him a couple times at this point this year, just with how he's been priced, but also like I've talked about it week after week. I think he's playing some of the best golf of his career at this point, and I know obviously that's saying something with him having 16 PGA Tour wins at this point, but he's just been striking it so well. He found something with a putter, and obviously was finally able to get a click. Started really strong, -10. Should have had the course record at -11, but missed like a 5, 6 footer. Whatever. Either way, was able to survive that. Just sort of grind out the last few rounds. It seemed like he wasn't, playing his best with the lead, but that's always tough. You shoot -10 day one. It's always tough to bounce back and really continue that for another couple days and actually pull out the win. But he was able to do that, and like you said, 3 out of 5 weeks, some outright wins. So definitely in a good place with whatever this process is that you want to call it that I'm using, and hopefully just they continue to knock some off as we get to the rest of the year. One quick thing I wanted to note and sort of hand it back to you here was the CBS ratings. They announced them today. There was the highest rated Sunday for the RBC Heritage in 23 years, and they're up 26% overall on CBS this year. So, I mean, definitely a good sign. Rory, JT, all these big names playing well again, and it seems like that's having a very big impact on the rating side.
It's all about the big names,
Yep.
100%, which finally they're breaking through. First American of the year, which is not first American, but first big
Big
name
name.
American.
Yeah.
That's one on tour, right? No Scotty, no Xander.
Hmm.
So JT breaks through. The putter was the difference this week. I
Yep.
mean, he's been hitting it like this for
A
close to
while.
a year now, probably.
Yeah.
He's consistently been in a good spot, but his
Hmm.
putter was the difference this week. He was making everything from 3 to 8, 3 to 10 feet throughout
Yeah.
the weekend. Friday, he slapped it around off the tee, was able to
Hmm.
grind out 2 under. I mean, he just figured out a way to get it in the hole this week, which
I know.
has been his nemesis. Like he's
I agree.
striking it great, and he'll have a couple short missed putts around that just could blow up around.
Exactly. It seems like he usually had that one round where it really, like I remember last year, there were so many events, whether it be day one or day two, he comes out, shoots like -7, -8, but the other round of like that first part of the tournament was like +2, +3. And now he's managing to get those at like -1, -2 instead of that, over par score. And obviously, in terms of results, making a big difference, especially this week with the knocking off the win. And then you mentioned his putting. I mean, last year he's 174th. This series up to 24th. So I mean, with him, his ball striking, how many looks he gives himself, if he continues to putt that way, he's going to be up there in a lot more events moving forward.
Yeah, and a lot of other guys played solid golf, right? Novak, I mean, him and Novak kind of separated at the end.
Yeah,
Novak's been impressive all year. I
he
mean,
has.
he's
He's played
consistent.
great golf all year. I mean, he's been up there in contention, I feel like multiple times.
He's been in the
Obviously,
final
going.
group 3 times this year.
Yeah, I mean, he hasn't obviously, closed anything out, but he's still, I feel like getting his feet wet in a sense,
Oh
getting
yeah.
comfortable on tour with actually, getting to the win at a certain point. But you got to go through this. You got to go through those tough losses. He hit a dart on 18, he was making putts on the back nine, hit like a 16 footer or something on 16 to tie it up with JT at that point. So, I mean,
Yep.
he made big putts, he hit big shots, it just, didn't drop on regulation on 18, that 8 footer played a little bit too much break. And then, I mean, Justin Thomas is Justin Thomas. He came up clutch, made a birdie, drained a 20 plus footer. Not much you could really do about it.
Yeah, no, it was impressive, and but it was just an interesting leaderboard. I like to see Brian Harmon playing well. I know
Yeah.
people don't love to watch him; he's a slow golfer, but the guy's a grinder. I mean, he was
He's,
flushing his irons this week.
yep.
He switched back to his old putter. I don't know if it was, I think it was Sunday. I
No,
don't,
it's his new putter. Because
no,
it's
but
a
he went
symbol.
back to his old one.
Really?
No, on Sunday he had the big like
Oh, on
Scotty.
Sunday he did.
Yeah, on Sunday he went back from the straight face.
Yeah,
The
I know. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, he went back to his older putter. He won the Open with. I'm pretty sure.
That
on
seems
Sunday.
silly. I mean, he's been rolling it like he was putting like shit all year, and then he started rolling it well,
This week,
obviously when he won, and
yeah.
then the first I mean, that's a crazy move. I didn't
First
even
couple
realize
rounds this week though, and he was flushing his irons. I don't think he
just
loved
wasn't
how he was
draining too
putting.
many. Yeah. I mean,
I,
when
I
you're as
could
good
be
as putter
wrong,
as
but
him,
I'm
I feel
pretty
like it's
sure he
hard.
did.
I feel like it's hard to go away from like that a putter for that long that you've been won a major
Yeah,
championship with, been good with for years.
you put it on a break, and then it's time to bring her back sometimes, or bring him back
It's
sometimes.
quick.
Yeah,
It's
quick.
quick. I know.
And then
But
Fleetwood, he's close though. Not close. I don't know what he's close to, but he hit the ball so well Sunday. He had
he
what
always does.
water ball on five, and I
Yeah.
swear he missed five, 8 to 10 footers for birdie on the back.
That's what he does, though. I mean, the putt just doesn't go in the hole. Like he always ball strikes it great. That really never falls off under pressure. It feels like it's more so the flat stick, and he used a new putter this week. I saw he had the spider instead of a
Yeah,
blade, and the
yeah,
first couple days it seemed like it worked out, but obviously it's just a different beast making the ball go in the hole on a Sunday compared to the rest of the week.
yeah. Golf's a messed up thing sometimes.
It's a messed up sport.
All right, so
But yeah,
you want to talk a little Zurich? Just you'll briefly
yeah.
go through the course, and then we'll talk through some picks.
Yeah, so obviously an interesting event this week, a bit of a much different format compared to what we're used to, but this week so we have 2 rounds of best ball, right? And then 2 rounds of alternate shot basically.
Yeah, yep.
Yeah. So that's the format for this week. Then I also saw I think it cuts down to 40 teams, rather than like
There's a
whatever it is,
cut.
like 60. Yeah, I think it's 40 teams is the cut, or 40 and tie, something like that. But for the course, I mean, I saw it's all Bermuda, so obviously maybe some guys from the southern, like southeast, wherever the Bermuda courses are for
Yeah,
the most part, might have some
down
advantage
south.
built in
Yeah,
like Horschel, stuff like that. But just the course as a whole, four par five, so plenty of scoring opportunities in that sense. Have a couple out there, and then six par fours under 440 yards. So I mean, if you are aggressive off the tee, can get your driver out there 290, 300 in the fairway. It seems like you should have a lot of wedges in your hand and give
yeah.
yourself a decent amount of looks at this type of place, especially this format. I mean, having two guys with
Someone's
six par
yeah.
fours under 440, that you could obviously see why -9, -10 happens consistently in the best ball format.
Yep.
And then for the par threes, you got four of them, all 200 plus yards. So I mean, pretty standard for the PGA Tour at this point. All just pretty long par fours, 4 iron, 5 iron, 6 iron, and for the most part. But obviously, format wise, gettable course with the best ball. Alternate shot is where it can get a bit testy. Obviously, if maybe your games don't mix the best, it might not be the best format for you guys. But all in all, it's I guess a good event to mix some stuff up compared to the rest of the year. But I'd say it's probably going to be a bit of a lighter week in terms of like what we're doing on the card.
Yeah. No, alternate shot is where you make or break it a lot of the times.
Exactly. If
Tough.
you could stand out and shoot -5, -6, it's a big deal.
Yeah. No, for sure. And there's been some low rounds I could remember over the years, alternate
Oh yeah.
shot, which I mean that makes or breaks a tournament like this. It's a
I
fun,
feel like
what are you gonna
go
say?
ahead. I feel like Xander and Pat always played, and they're not
Yeah.
playing in it this year, but they've always been pretty solid in this.
Alternate shot, they're phenomenal. That's
I
true.
know.
They're not in the field this week. Yeah.
No, I'm sure they'd be like plus 700 maybe at this point, just compare like with Rory
Yeah,
and Shayna.
maybe even less. Yeah.
I know.
The two of them together, but neither. I mean, Cantley was another guy last week. He was playing great, tee to green.
He
And he
can't
can't
putt.
putt. Yeah,
Did you see that? I put out a like a
yeah,
an X about it. I guess it's called an X technically about all his missed putts. I mean, he is literally like one of the worst putters on tour now when he was one of the best
Oh,
putters on tour,
remember
but
his playoff
probably
against Bryson?
it was the best putting performance statistically of all time.
Yeah, he couldn't miss. He could not
And
miss.
now if he gets inside 8 feet, he's lost.
Yeah, it's again, golf is it's crazy sometimes. He was literally the most confident putter, and you think of the Ryder Cup a couple years ago. I mean, his putting,
Yeah.
how he got
The putt on
dominated
18 to I
to
know that
win.
obviously they got spanked freaking in Europe, but that putt on 18 was pretty sick. I remember that.
All right, so who we thinking this week? You got some
Yeah,
picks
so I
that
mean,
I also was thinking about as well. But top of the board, Lowry McIlroy plus 360. I mean, that's a little aggressive, but it
It's a
makes
proper
sense
number,
though. Yeah,
probably, but
100%. Lowry's playing, very good golf, and then Rory's playing the best golf in the world this year by a
yeah.
large amount, so that's fair. What
Just
do you think
hopefully they
about
don't
them?
win and we
You
don't have
think,
to worry about that.
yeah, that Lowry, their win here last year kind of saved his like status a little bit, or it was a big deal. He hasn't won in a long
I
time.
know he was struggling, I'd say, a bit more last year, but
Oh
obviously
yeah.
I'd say at this point, obviously with the win, without the win, his form at this point, he's already like sort of established self again. As you know, you've been on him a million times.
Yeah, unfortunately,
I
hasn't
know.
worked out. So who's your top pick this week?
So I'd say my a couple guys that stand out to me that I'm not gonna take just because of the number, but then I'll get into a couple guys that I was looking at. Thomas Dietrich, Robert McIntyre, they're 18 to 1. I thought that's a interesting team. They placed pretty well here last year, but I just think 18 to 1 a bit too low for what I like to take at this type of event. I also thought same number 18 to 1, JT Post and Keith Mitchell, pretty good team. Both I looked at like some numbers. They're both pretty solid Bermuda players as well. So pretty good team. Both playing well, coming off solid weeks. Going back to last week at the events they played, but again, just a bit too low for what I'd want to take. But my couple guys that I'll be taking this week, I got Horschel and Hogue plus are 25 to 1. Like I sort of referenced before, I think Horschel loves the team aspect. We saw him in TGL just be a complete nerd with that stuff. So I mean, I
Yeah,
think
he's
he
out of
loves being
control.
on the team aspect. He's played with Burns before a couple times. They finished well. I saw Hogs played here a couple times. I think he's finished somewhat well a couple times in terms of just like with his previous partners. I didn't even see who it was with, but I think solid team. Hogue with the irons, Horschel with the putter should give themselves a bunch of good opportunities on the alternate shot side. Then obviously, the best ball side. I think they're both, their games are both in a good enough position to shoot the score that they need to keep pace there. And I know you were saying before you like them as well.
Yeah, I mean, I've been on Hogue top 20 for a while. Horschel is a guy I really hope finishes the year strong and can make
I
his way
know.
on the Ryder Cup team because that he does not like to lose, which is the key to match play. But and
Yeah.
that's also to these sorts of events, he's not going to want to let Hogue down. So I do like them.
Yep.
Horschel's been, kind of hit or miss this year.
Yeah.
He's had some good finishes, and you saw him grinding at the range last week. So, he
Yep.
always is, but you like to hear it. So I could see
Yeah.
him breaking through and getting a nice win.
I agree team aspect though. He doesn't like to, not hold his side of the bargain. I think this would sort of give him a
Yeah,
little boost to at least keep up with what Hoag's doing. And Hoag's been playing well, like you said. So it should be a pretty good, chance for them if they can put themselves in position.
yeah, I agree. And then another team that we both liked, right? Nick Taylor and Adam Hadwin.
Yeah, I agree.
They're they've been teammates in this a couple years now. They're good buddies. They play practice rounds every weeks. Every
Hmm.
week it seems like. And neither of them really are in great form, but
Yeah.
it's kind of one of those events. You gotta, you just pick each other up, and you never know what could happen in this sort of stuff. So
Yeah,
get two
exactly.
Canadians together. What's your take on them?
They finished well in the past. I had to pull it up. Let me see. They've going back to like the past couple of years. Last year they finished tied in 10th
And
place, minus 21, four off the lead. So it was a pretty stacked, leaderboard up there in terms of
I
who could have went and got it on Sunday.
think a
But
bad
they
start
were
to
one off.
Sunday.
Yeah, they were one off the lead going into Sunday. So they put themselves in position then. And then 2023 they finished in second. It was the lowest score I saw. It was minus 30 the winner. They shot minus 28. It was freaking
Riley,
yeah, Riley and Hardy. Yeah,
yeah,
Riley and Hardy won that year. So they played well here in the past. Honestly, Nick Taylor's numbers, just like shots gained, aren't too bad, especially the
Tee to
approach side
green.
of things. And this is a short course, so I think it should be a better fit for Hadwin. Probably compared to some of the other courses he's had to play this year. And it's mostly based off course history and just them, like you said, being Canadians and being buddies and hopefully picking each other up.
Yeah, and Taylor, like he's good tee to green, and when he's good with his mid irons and
Yeah.
wedges. I feel like so I could see that being a positive. They can both get the ball in the fairway for sure.
Yep. Anybody else stand out on your end? Anybody else you like team wise?
Yeah, so I was looking. Fox and Higo kind of interested me.
I
The
know
It's tough, like you said, when you're contending the week before. I mean, Higo's coming off such a high. He just locked in his PGA Tour status again for two
that
years.
was such a crazy event for him to. I
Uh,
mean, I had Thor Bjornsson last week.
yeah,
That
well,
was
we forgot to
You had
mention that.
Damon.
Yeah,
Oh,
Damon, that two choke jobs, but Damon, I mean,
yeah.
full choke,
Oh,
just a
God.
full choke. So
Damon bogeyed the last three. Freaking Thorbjornsen had so many looks on the back nine that he just couldn't make, and then it literally just fell into Higo's lap. But I mean, either way, going
he
back to
won. Yeah,
Fox Higo, I know
yeah. I
you
don't know
love
if that's a
Fox, and I
pick,
mean, I think
but
Higo's played well here in the past, to be honest.
Higo was solid. I don't know how he
Yeah,
lost his status so quick, but he did.
he's only 25 still. That guy.
Yeah, he's young. He came out young.
He's got to cut his hair. Oh,
He's gonna get a sponsorship, I'm sure, for a hat.
oh, yeah. He had a freaking Boston Red Sox hat
I
on. I
know.
mean,
All right, so I was you oh wow, you didn't take the Hoygaard brothers.
yeah, I think it's. I might take him. You know, if the number gets up there a little bit more, I might, but. I don't know, brothers. It's
And they haven't been playing great.
yeah. I just don't like. I've never seen them play well in the same tournament. I can't imagine them playing really, well together in a tournament. So I know that really doesn't mean shit in reality in terms of how they're gonna play, but
Yeah. No,
I don't
I
know. I
just
think
know
it's
you
just a little
like
too
them.
low, and I'd rather go with my last one is gonna be Thorbjornsen and Phillips this week at they're at 45 or 45 to 1. They played together. They went to Stanford together, right?
Were they there at the same? I'm not sure if they were there at the same time.
I
They
think so. I
probably
mean,
were.
Phillips came out this
Yeah.
past year, and then Thorbjornsen was 2 years
Only
ago. I
oh
mean,
yeah, so yeah, they definitely were.
yeah, probably played together at Stanford. It seems like I assume they're pretty good friends if they're playing together in this. And honestly, I'm a big Thorbjornsen fan, and I like Phillips as well. He got that win earlier this year. Both young talent, and should give themselves enough looks on a course like this. Just a matter of seeing a couple putts fall. I think.
Yeah, no, I think that's a solid pairing. Like you said, they're both kind of feast or famine golfers, which
Yeah,
could work out great, or alternate shot could get ugly pretty quick. So
exactly. Yeah,
it
alternate
is
shots a scare.
it is a little they just got to be conservative off the tee. They're both deep, so it's just
Exactly. I mean,
get it
you
in
got to
play.
shoot. The goal should be like mine. Obviously, best ball, you want to shoot
Yeah, go low.
-8 to -10. Obviously, that's very low -10, but -8
But
range
that's
is a
where
solid
that'll
score.
be where the lead around is. Yeah,
Exactly. Yeah, that's going to be around where the leader is after day one. Then, I mean, I'd say alternate shot, you're probably what, shooting for -3, 4 is a good
yeah,
score there.
that's a very solid round, I think.
Yeah. So I mean, if they could just manage to plot their way around and take advantage of their distance off the tee, it should give themselves some chances. But obviously, again, this is a bit of a tougher event, I'd say, to handicap just because how different it is compared to the rest of the year.
Agreed. So I a couple teams that I like here looking at them. So I like Toasty and Highsmith plus
Yeah, I saw
4,000.
that. It's an
I,
interesting mix.
it's an interesting mix. Toasty, very feast or famine player as well. Highsmith did not play great last week, but I
Oh,
could see them
it
being
was ugly.
yeah, it was did not look like pretty golf out there. But I that interests me that team.
No, because
Go
when I think of Highsmith, I think of like a very again, I haven't watched too much of him. Obviously, we saw him win earlier this
has a
year,
nice
but
flat ball flight.
yeah, like a very, it looks like he's a very solid iron wedge type of player. And,
Yeah.
with Toasty off the tee, if he can give themselves some looks there, it could be a pretty good pairing. But, what's their number? 50 to 1?
It was 40 to 1.
40 to 1? Yeah, I mean, two solid players in a format like this if they put it together.
All right, so let me look. Fitzpatrick brothers are interesting.
I know. I know nothing about Alex. That's the
Oh,
only thing.
he had a good run on the European tour a couple years ago.
I
Last
know.
year, I don't think he did much.
Matt's playing better too.
Yeah, Matt played a little bit better last week.
And I'm sure I just feel like this means like this one like it's just so much on like Matt's probably thinking about like he's literally almost responsible if they get into contention on Sunday for getting his brother a tour card. And
Yeah, it'd be sick.
it would be sick. It's just a lot that sort of obviously not the same as the Hagar brother because they both already are on tour, but I feel like it's a different dynamic compared to just being buddies, which could be an advantage, with how close they are, but also could be like the other way in terms of how much trying to not let each other down because they're brothers. I don't know.
Yeah, and that's like Jeremy Paul and Yannick Paul. They both had good
Yeah,
finishes last week. Like you said,
that's crazy. Three sets of brothers.
one of them's coming from China.
Yep, he was in contention. I think he was in contention somewhat, not like full on, but he was up there, like maybe
Yeah, he
top 10
finished in the
somewhere.
top five somewhere. Yeah.
Yeah,
The one long shot, so I'll just do this long shot. Isaiah Salindo and
I
Salindo
let
and
Kevin
Kevin
Velo.
Vilo. Yeah,
Yeah,
100 to 1. Or
I've seen Velo up there a couple times, and Celinda seems like a pretty solid young bomber as well.
yeah, I've seen his name enough times to say that interests me.
Solid number.
So, all right, that's a Zurich. Anything else you wanted to chat about there?
Zurich, no, I think we're good. But for our first time today, we were going to discuss the other side of things, Live Golf, and because they're going back to a. I don't even want to try to pronounce this course's name because I'll just butcher it. But I'm just going to call it Club de Golf in Mexico City.
Chapultepec,
Yeah, that
I
if that's
think.
how it's
That could be
pronounced, then we'll
wrong,
go with that.
probably.
But that's where what the WGC Mexico Championship was held for
For
a
a couple
while.
decent amount of years, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, and I saw a lot of them have solid course history, like going back to 2017, 2019. Obviously, that's DJ's prime, but he won two times at this event. Phil won in 2018. You had Pat Reed win in 2020. John Rahm has the course record here. I think it was 61 minus 10, and he's finished like top. I think it was tied third in 2017 and 2020. So I mean, a lot of guys here have finished well, played well here. I mean, I saw Hatton up there a bunch of times looking up past results. I saw Casey up there. So I mean, a lot of guys have played well here. So I mean, it's not a new course for these guys, but obviously, for Liv, I think this is their first time on here compared
This
to
is
last year they were in.
Did
Was it
they steal this
Mayakoba or they're still
course?
on
Oh
that?
yeah, Mayakoba, I think you're right.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, Live, it's like really hard to watch. I
it,
try to watch it and
I know.
it's tough.
It's just a bad like the guys like I always see this stuff on X like I get it. They have a good crop of top guys. The field's not
Yeah.
deep. All those people that say the field's deep is just like delusional. They're stupid, but they do have top guys that people do want to watch, but they're not like the product just sucks. Like you hear music in the background. These guys are wearing shorts, I think still. I don't know if they
Oh
changed that
yeah.
rule, but it's just like it's not a serious thing, but again, like I like the course. It matches up with where the PGA's played in the past, so I'm actually taking the course serious this time around. And obviously, because it's the Zurich, that's really the only reason I'm leaning into this a little bit and wanting to give it a little bit of a shot to, just get a
Yeah.
little action
It's
here and there and see how it
finally
goes.
it's a they've been against elevated events or like decent fields on the PGA Tour. I think they played the Honda Week and
Yeah, that's what they always do.
so but and that's still it's like you're not going to watch Live over that sort of PGA Tour golf. It just
No. Unless one of the guys, maybe I'll turn it on the back nine, which I mean, your guy that wins the tournament, he could start on hole three and end up finish on
yeah.
hole two. It's just
Yeah, it's
it's just
weird.
so silly.
It's weird. All right, so that being said, who do you like this week with Liv?
Yeah, so I mean, this week, I'm a big David Puig fan. I think he is a gonna be a great player at some point. Hopefully, he could take the Chikara. What's his name? Eugenio Chikara.
Yeah,
His route, maybe get back onto the DP
you want him
somehow
to get
and
out of Liv?
yeah, wiggle his way back to the PGA Tour because I really do think that he is a stud
He
and
is.
could be a very good player on tour and actually with his game overall, it seems like he could be a guy when he really refines stuff that does compete in these, big events, majors in the future at some point. So I like him 22 to 1. I got that on ESPN bet. I'm just going sort of based off talent there. He hasn't really done much on Live to be honest. He's done a bit more on like DP World Tour events. I've noticed going back to last year, some of those. He's had some good finishes, but I think this should be. It looks like a bomber's course from what I could tell with past winners. Like distance should be a very big benefit for them. And then you see Bryson, his stock driver is 378 this week carry
Oh, I
because it's
saw a video I
elevated.
think from Torquay, I think with Neiman
Yeah,
and his team. I saw that.
it's
That's
elevated.
crazy.
Whatever, like it's
They're at elevation, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So the ball's just carrying. So I mean, I think, and he's deep. Like he's maybe not Bryson length, but he's out there with like Neiman, Rory type of, like Neiman type of distance. I would say he could really get it out there. So I like his number. I like Paul Casey, 33 to 1. I don't like the number. I don't. Paul Casey at 33-1 these days really sounds gross coming out of my mouth, but he's played great here in the past. Like I saw again, this is going back a while, like 2017 to 2020 range. He had a I think his worst finish was like tied 12th at this event. So I mean, he's played very well here, and I think he's honestly, played decent on live, had some pretty decent finishes. I don't know the specifics of that. I don't follow it, enough to be honest, but I do think that's a solid number based off how well he's played here. And then honestly, my favorite play of the week is Dustin Johnson. I got him at 45-1 on ESPN. I know he missed a cut at the Masters, but I mean, going back to the previous two live events before that, he played well the first 2 days, like looking into it today.
Miami.
Played well the
Yeah.
first 2 days and then, played like shit the last day at each of them, Miami and then what was before that, Singapore or something
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
So DJ's been honestly playing better golf and he's won 2 times here. I think he does want to get in form a little bit. And honestly, he's won live events in the past, so it's not like something he's not locked into. He
No.
does want to
Yeah.
compete a little bit, I guess, there. And 45-1's a solid number.
I do agree. So DJ is a pick I agree with. He's definitely swinging it better. The last year or two has been tough. I mean, he literally
Yeah.
just was not swinging it well at all. Probably from just not playing and practicing as much as he once was,
No, exactly.
obviously. And I guess he must be a little bit more back into it now and trying to grind a little bit. He tripled the 18th hole in Miami on
He,
Saturday, snap hooked it into the water like bad.
and the Masters, I was gonna say he went bogey double to finish, and he missed the cut by one, I
Yeah.
think, at the
He was
Masters. I mean, he
playing
didn't
solid. He
play
was
that
playing
bad.
solid. Yeah. So I do like DJ. Not I would take like a Phil top 10 bet, but I don't see odds for that.
I
So
don't think there's top 10
yeah.
action.
So I don't really have not much to add there. I do see Hatton winning at some point.
Yeah. He's played well here too. He had a couple like top five
Yeah.
finishes, and I mean he played well at Augusta. He blew up the back latter part of Saturday and
Saturday.
obviously
Yeah.
Sunday, but
So I could see Hatton pulling through here.
yeah.
You know, that's I'll take Hatton. Take
Yeah.
Hatton.
All right. So you're Hatton. I got Puig, Casey, and John and DJ. And let's see
And I'll
if we
be
can
on
go one.
DJ. I'm on DJ with
Yeah,
you.
you're on DJ as well. Let's see if we can go 1 for 1 on the live tour here.
That'd be nice.
All
I
right.
could take a winner at some point. All right, so we wanted to talk well just a few minutes about the
Yeah.
PGA, or do you want to do PGA and not Ryder Cup, right? We'll wait for Ryder Cup.
Yeah, let's do PGA just because I mean, it's like 2, 3 weeks away at this point.
Oh yeah, it's coming up quick.
So one thing that I noticed with the PGA that I was texting you about earlier, that Rory is now the official favorite for all the majors moving forward, and the
Wow.
PGA. And honestly, even if he didn't win the Masters, I would still think that he should be the favorite, to be quite honest, with
At
his form.
Oakmont too, and everywhere.
Oakmont and Royal Portrush, he's favored at all of them now above Scotty. So I mean, and I honestly think, especially specific here to Quail Hollow, he's won here 4 times in the past. Like he loves this place. Like he should be the favorite, and obviously that's already reflected in the book. So I mean, he is going to be another obviously scary guy to go up against. Obviously got the monkey off his back at Augusta. Does that free him up, or does that maybe he settles into it and maybe doesn't, contend too heavily again? There's two ways you can go, I feel, after, winning or getting that type of monkey off your back, that big of a win. But course fit wise and how he's playing, it should be a match made in heaven for him.
Yeah, I think it's definitely gonna take a monkey off his back. I mean, he's been contending a lot in majors the last couple of years,
Yeah.
and to finally break through, and I mean, he tried to choke it away. Which again, that's just almost like another monkey off his back that he actually ended up winning that tournament
He
because
played like his B golf.
yeah, like he's so good, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And Quail Hollow again, it's just a course that fits him because it's an more open sort of major, right? I mean,
Yeah.
it's not too tight off the tee. Not
And
that
there's like holes where you could really, if you're deep, you take advantage of certain lines that makes
yeah,
like a 40
no,
yard difference.
100%. And he's comfortable just sending it there.
Oh, it's straight. I mean,
And
he's
it's
no,
not that I shouldn't say it. It's not too open. It's just it's his type of golf course.
it's
There's
a
like
bomber's golf
yeah,
course.
it's a Bombers golf course, and that's why Bryson, I'm sure, will be contending again if he
I
figures
agree.
out his irons.
Xander's played well here. Xander and Rory were battling all day Sunday until the back nine last year at the Wells Fargo. It's Wells Fargo, right? Usually.
Yeah,
Yeah, at the Wells Fargo. Obviously, Rory pulled away, but Xander's played well here. Um, JT won his what was that 2017 major here? Was that Quail?
27. Yeah, 2017 sounds
Yeah,
right.
2017 was here at Quail. So I mean, obviously JT back in form. Maybe he can obviously get up there in real contention at these majors again. The one concern I have for JT again, obviously I love his game, how good he's been playing, the putter, everything like that. But he does need to just have those like have a bit more consistency with the driver, especially at these major type of courses where the rough's going to be so penal and you're not going to be able to like advance it how you would at the RBC if you miss, little courses like that. So, I mean, I think that's one part he really has to clean up. But again, I think JT sort of similar to Rory. Maybe monkey off the back. He won. He's relieved. He's able to play a bit more loose and confident going into these types of big events. And we'll see if he's actually able to get it done at a certain point this year in a major compared to obviously an elevated event like he just did.
Yeah, and in the majors, it might be another situation. Like he's got to contend one or two times before he actually wins
Yeah,
another.
I agree.
A guy like JT, you never know, but that usually is how it works. You got to put yourself in that sort of fire again.
Yeah,
RBC, he played great golf. He didn't have to hit a lot of drivers. He had probably
I know.
three drivers a day, which is key for him.
It's that was we like we said we wanted to keep the driver in the bag, but of course like Quail Hollow, I don't feel like that's
No,
a
you
viable
can't.
option for you.
You can't. No, you
No,
can't. And then I don't understand Rom 25 to 1. When you look at the names below him, it kind of makes sense where he is.
you think he should be lower?
Like worse odds. I could see him being like 30 to 1.
Oof, Rom, you think Rom's falling that much?
He hasn't played well in a major since he went to live.
I know. I obviously he didn't play too well at Augusta, but he was T14.
Yeah, he made the cut in the number. He grinded it out. He did.
But
Yeah.
obviously he's not the John Ron that he was when he left. There's no doubt about that. But I mean, I if I saw John Ron at 30 to 1, I mean, that'd be hard to stay away from.
Understood. I agree. I mean, he's a freak. His
He's still
skill.
such a comp. I mean, obviously, I think he's actually one of those that does truly regret. Obviously, I don't know if regret's the right word, but he misses that competing week in, week out. Like he's a dog. He wants to compete against the best. And I mean, him hearing music and drones fly over his head
Mm,
every single freaking week on a joke of an event. Obviously, I don't think that's really suiting who he is, or obviously, suiting his game too well, preparing him for these big events.
agreed. 100%. All right, so that I think that's good. Or you want to run through any more names?
No, I mean, we could get into it obviously a bit more as we get closer. I feel like, we talked about Rory, talked about, I like personally, as of right now, I think one name that does stick out at the number is maybe Neiman. And I feel silly for maybe thinking he's at 40 to 1, 39 to 1, 40 to 1, basically on FanDuel.
He is
And
really good. It's just, yeah, again, he's another T16's his best finish at a major, I think.
yeah, it's just he hasn't performed at all. And I mean, if I'd almost be like, it's like it doesn't matter at all what he does on Live to me. I know how good he is, and I
Yeah,
just think like
he
it's
is.
I again I do think he has to compete at a certain point first, but like 40 to 1 for his type of talent is a pretty high number.
And I do like Brooks this week as not. I do like his number at the PGA,
What is he at?
50 to 1.
Yeah, Brooks at a PGA because like he didn't again like I know he missed the cut at the Masters. Obviously, he's not the same Brooks as when he was competing 2 years ago when he competed at the Masters and won the PGA right after. But he didn't play too bad at Augusta. Like his tee to green numbers were great. He just putted like shit, and then he had a quad or I don't even know what it was on 18 to miss the cut. So I mean,
Yeah,
50 to 1 is a that's a pretty big number for the major caliber player he is.
yeah. My guy
And
Lowry.
he's got Rory at freaking 5 now too. I mean, I'm sure that's a bit of motivation for a guy like Brooks.
Yeah, 100%. There are. Where's Cam Young?
He's gonna drop down. He's currently at 90 to 1, but by the when the like the lot the
That's
odds
it.
open that week, he's gonna drop immediately to 200 to 1.
Yeah, no, I was kept scrolling down. I thought he would have been. down near
They
like
just don't
Keith
update till the
Mitchell.
week of for these majors for like the names they don't care about. Like they're not going to give people a better number on Cam Young for no reason. Like if Cam Young wins one of these next couple weeks somehow, then the number is going to go even lower. So they're not going to give somebody an advantage of like a I feel like this early 200 to 1.
Gary Woodland, 280 to 1.
It's interesting. He's been I mean, I don't know. I want to see like when the numbers come out for his like top 20. Like that would be a feel like Gary out like a course like this bomber how he's been playing lately. That could be a pretty interesting like prop type of bet.
Then we got Tom Hogue down here, 240 to 1. Keegan, 190 to 1.
Yeah. I mean, Zalatoris at 45 to 1 or 46 to 1's silly. That's too low.
Yeah, he's not been able to sustain a round, meanwhile, 4 rounds. He
Might
played
be
good on
interested in
Saturday.
Hovland. Might be interested in Hovland.
Yeah, I like to see Hovland playing well. I'd like to see him win a major.
Mm-hmm. All right, but I mean, I think for unless you got some more names to add, I think for today, at least for the overall and obviously PGA side, we're good. We're obviously going to release a episode that week for the event, but little look ahead to see who we're interested in, just where the numbers stand right now.
Yeah, 100%.
All right.
And so who's your one official pick for the PGA?
For the PGA, if I had to say right now, I would do. That's tough. You put me on the spot. I haven't really.
Nah, it's fine.
Say Hovland.
Yeah, Hovland's your guy.
I feel like that's like his putting has gotten out of like obviously he's been a good putter in the past, but it was so lost and now it's just so locked in again. And if he's really continue to dial in that swing, if he's putting that well, he's not a player that's afraid of anybody else, no matter if it's a major or normal event when it's time to go and get a win. I know he hasn't yet, but he's a guy that's if he's really finding his form, continuously still, it should be a good chance for him.
I agree. I do. When you look at the names and the odds, Hovland is the one that kind of sticks out. So let's
Yeah.
let's stick with Hovland. All right, this is another good episode of Brothers on the Green. We will see everybody next week, and hopefully we get another winner somewhere.
Yeah. And if anybody's still watching at this point, we are going to be we have a little event coming up at Bobby's Golf Club that we're going to be recording a four-man scramble. So we'll be having some golf content going up on YouTube as well pretty soon. Have to figure out how to edit that stuff and everything like that, but we'll have stuff going up there, see what we do there, but obviously like we said, another winner this week first and then we'll get into that ourselves golfing content world.
All right. Peace
All
out.
right, good work.